Alright, so today we're going to be showing you how to keep moving on a project after you pull the pad. Pulling the pad is something that's very easy to do, and even the best of us do at times. So, first thing you want to do is look around for a trace. If you can see a trace, it looks something like this little outline right here. You'll see like a little different color other than the ground plane. You can usually scrape that away and apply flux, then solder to that, and then solder a wire to that. In our case, it looks like this trace is actually not a trace, but a break in the ground plane. The trace is probably actually very, very deep into this, so that's not going to be ideal. The next thing I decided to do was look around for where this trace might be going. Now, my first suspect was this chip right here, and I actually was correct. If we look up, this is a LM358. If we Google that on my iPad, we will get a very, very nice diagram here. Which goes ahead and shows us what we want. So we want to be attacking this right here. So pin 8, and if you look at the notch, which is corresponding to, focus, this little dot right here. So if we have it like this pin right here, sorry, it's not focusing. This pin right here is the one we want to attack. To check the diagram, it's not a foolproof method, but it does always help to make sure that at least one pin's correct. We can take the ground right here and verify that that is ground. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So, I usually have a couple clips on my multimeter. I have one of the needle probes, and I have a little alligator clip type probe on it. These come in handy quite often, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to take my multimeter, stick it in a continuity mode. Actually, put this over here so you can see it. And we're going to take, and which one? This is ground right here. So clip onto this and verify it's ground. We can. Okay. Freaking heck. Okay. Alright. So, let me look at the chart here. So, okay. Look at this. This is going to be ground supposedly, and it looks like that is ground actually, just from my looking at it, but we can also verify my little needle probe here and by zooming in. So let's take this around here. Okay, all right, it's focusing for you guys. And I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Okay, so we can verify that we are at least on a somewhat correct diagram by making sure this is connected to ground. Jeez, this keeps coming off. Okay. Gosh dang it. Let's just take it on this. Okay. Hopefully this will just be a little bit better. So make sure this is ground again. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure that this pin is ground. So, the likelihood of our success is rather high. Alright, and typically you can, if you find a trace, if you don't want to scratch into the trace, you can always trace it back to whatever component it goes to, and then just solder onto that leg. Typically, that's the less destructive way. Scratching into this trace, it can be a little iffy, because you then can run into interference with random stuff. It's not really a big issue, but it is something to consider. So we are going to be getting into this pin right here. What we're going to do is grab my syringe of flux. Here we go. And just apply a little bit of flux to this area over here. Get the solder ready. Now, first, I'm jumping ahead of it. What we need to do is we need to find a donor USB cable for power, because that port ripped clean off, and I really don't feel like rigging up a port. So we're gonna be taking this very, very broken micro USB cable. It has had a bad life. And we're just gonna be clipping off this end here. And now we're just gonna strip it back quite a bit. You want it good ways here. And we're just gonna rotate it like so, and then just off. Come on, use off camera. Okay. All right, then we're left with this, and this is a shield, so we can gather this away from the rest of the wire. And typically, what I do is I apply a bit of solder at the base here, and then just trim it. And what that does is it prevents it from fraying everywhere, because that's always a pain in the butt, seriously. So just take a bit of solder here. I know somebody's gonna hate my method for soldering, but hey, it works for me. Okay, and as you can see, it has prevented our wires from fraying. So we're gonna take the shield, this like foil type stuff, and pull that off. And we're going to take the green and white wires here, move them to the side, and just trim them off, because these are the data wires and we don't need them. We just need power. So there's that. Now we're left with the red and black wires, which we can go ahead and strip. And yeah, my wire strippers are not gonna work on these, so just use some scissors. Be very careful though, because you can, if you have wire strippers, I recommend using wire strippers. I have just been doing this for quite a while, so I've gotten pretty good at doing scissors. Okay. The trick is to just be very, very light and not apply a whole bunch of pressure. And there we go. Just trim this. Okay. All right, twist these wires up. And go ahead and tin these wires. Okay. And now for at least for the positive wire, I'm gonna go ahead and trim this down a bit. May need to trim that down later. I'll also do the same for the ground just a bit. That is because we're gonna be soldering to a leg of a little IC, and we want to be very careful. Okay. So next, we want to grab our board here. And we are going to use soldering to, let me just verify the pin. Okay, this pin right here. What we could also do is we could also look around and find something else with that, if you wanted to. And it does look like it goes through this, what appears to be a resistor right here. So we can go ahead and check very quickly by swapping over to one of my other probes really quick on my. So let's go ahead and do a proper trace of this. Okay. So we can go ahead and go over here and okay. Yeah, okay. Just making sure we're not getting any other pins here. Okay. All right, so it looks like right here, no, sorry, right here or right, let me just use this. Right here or right here are our only options for the moment. We could probably find some other pins. However, these are probably just gonna be our best bet for now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this a bit closer to me rather than to you, so I can see a bit better and make it easier on myself. Okay, all right. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use some electrical tape to hold the board in place while we work. So, again, I'm gonna move you guys over. Okay, sorry for the weird angle, I know. I need to be able to see so we can actually get this hopefully working again. So tape this down like so. And if you want to make it easier on yourself, you can just tape out the areas that you don't want to solder. I mean, obviously you'll probably end up burning the tape, but you know, just make it a bit more so you can focus a bit easier on what area. So probably end up going that direction. So, and if you have a hot glue gun, I recommend using that just to hold the wire in place so you don't accidentally pull this as well. Because if we pull this, we're in some trouble here, because we're pulling a component that is more than likely needed for the device to function properly. So yeah. Anyways, went ahead and started warming up my hot glue gun. So that should be ready once we're done. Okay. So we're gonna place it. Let me adjust this a bit here. Alright, so we're gonna place this like right about here. And that tape always helps to just catch whatever excess solder you may have on your iron, even though you should be cleaning off your iron, but I have the tendency to not. This just, you know, saves me from stupid stuff like that. So let's go ahead and try this again. So there's that. And now for the last wire, we can go ahead and solder to ground, which is going to be right here. And again, you want to make sure that you don't cross something over. So we're gonna all right. So now we can go ahead and remove our tape. And grab our battery bank here and make sure it works. So we can go ahead and flip it over here so you guys can see the little LED. And we're about to see whether this thing works or not. And there we go. That is how you fixed a pulled pad. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And let me just go ahead and briefly re-demonstrate, because there was another light. I don't know if you guys were able to see that or not. There you go. So yeah, it is working. I don't have any devices with me at the moment to prove that it's working. You always have to take my word for it by the, you know, the lights showing, and it's showing us the little startup sequence. So